Welcome to the second live session of the course Introduction to Internet of Things. So, the first session was pretty useful. I got a lot of feedback from many of you that you got many of your answers to the questions that you had. So, in this second session as well, please feel free to ask any question that you have. But before you do, make sure that you have read all the slides. If there is something that is already there in the slides and you did not read, if I feel that, then I am not going to answer your question. But if you have read something but still you have any doubt, then you could ask me. So, today is the second session and shortly we will have the third session also. And if you need any specific type of information, let us try to restrict the questions to only what is covered in the course, right. So, because time is also very limited, but if you need any additional information beyond what is covered in the course, feel free to send me an email or you can post it in the discussion forum as well. So, let us take the questions one by one. So, what about so somebody has asked about the basic requirements for the exam. I do not know what you mean by the basic requirements. In terms of the slides and the assignments, basically so the exam basically will be of the similar type like the assignment, in the sense that here also you will have MCQ type of questions, multiple choice questions. So, in a sense that it will be similar to the assignments that you used to get, but obviously the questions may not be the same or having any overlap with those in the assignments. There may be overlap, but there may not be substantial overlap with those that were asked in the exam in the assignments. Slides, you need to whatever has been covered, everything will be there as part of the exam. So, it is a full syllabus exam that you are going to have, nothing is going to be omitted out. So, make sure that you have gone through all the slides and all the lectures in fact carefully. There may or may not be everything that is asked in the exam that you will be able to find in all the slides. Maybe something was told by me in the lecture, and if there is something, and even sometimes I might not be asking you direct questions. There may be some questions which you will be able to answer on that particular topic only. You will be able to answer only if you have read little bit, you have thought about it. It may not be a direct question. So, some questions you can expect like that, may not be completely a direct question from any of the slides. So, make sure that you have gone through all the topics in detail. It is not just sufficient to listen to the lectures and go through the slides to be able to answer all the questions properly. So, little breadth of knowledge on that particular topic. I am not asking you to read other topics. The breadth and sometimes little bit of deeper understanding of some of these topics that are covered may also help you in answering some of these questions. So, somebody has asked about what are the different research areas in IoT. Basically, it depends on your interests. IoT is multidisciplinary. So, these two questions are linked actually. And the one question is IoT research areas, the second question is PhD research in IoT. Both are linked. So, I am going to address these two questions together. So, it depends on your interests. IoT is pretty broad scoped, right. There are so many different aspects of IoT, many of which I have covered in the different lectures, but because it is so broad scoped that not everything is there in the lectures, but mostly whatever you have learned, it covers most of the things that are very important at present in terms of IoT, understanding about IoT. So, if your interests are in the application domains, right. So, IoT applications, lot of applications are existing, lot of research work is going on these applications, lot of number of different startup companies are focusing on coming up with different solutions to serving different application problems, application domain problems. So, I already talked about agriculture, healthcare. In the lectures it is there, right. So, these are the case studies that were there. So, agriculture, healthcare, and this is something, these are also the areas where we have been doing a lot of work, and there is ample opportunity in each of these domains on the application of IoT. There are lots of research challenges that need to be addressed, and correspondingly lot of research opportunities as well. So, you can try to work on these different problems corresponding to the area where you want to focus. So, if you are interested in agriculture, look at my works on agriculture applications using IoT. So, you will find a number of papers. You go through my website, my research group's website, you will find a few papers which are already published on IoT in agriculture. For example, recently there was one paper which was on UAVs, use of unmanned aerial vehicles. Recently there is a paper that has been accepted on the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, and to a large extent we are devoting our discussions to the use of use of UAV in the IoT based systems that you develop for agriculture. So, if you are interested in that domain, you can have a look at my paper. It has been accepted for publication in the Journal of Network and Computer Applications of Elsevier. So, have a look through that paper. It is publicly available, and if you are by any chance not able to get access to it, you can send me an email. There are a lot of works which are talking about the use of UAVs, but imaging using UAVs in agriculture. There are a lot of works which are talking about the use of robotics in agriculture, and many of these robotic solutions basically are IoT based IoT and CPS based solutions. So, you can have a look through those as well. Use of IoT in irrigation, you will find some of my research papers and lot of other papers also on this particular topic. There are different other problems like use of IoT in applications of fertilizer, pesticides and so on, monitoring those applications as well. There are lot of works which talk about energy harvesting solutions, and many of them apply very well to agriculture. So, like this, these are some of the problems that I just named in the domain of agriculture. So, IoT applications in agriculture. Like this, in healthcare also there are number of problems that we have worked on. We have worked on the use of IoT for monitoring the patients in the hospitals and other healthcare facilities, monitoring the condition of patients who are traveling in an ambulance. We have done a lot of theoretically oriented works on the applicability of the standard IEEE 802.15.6, which has direct healthcare applications, wireless body area network. So, we have done lot of theoretical works on these. We have also done some work on the healthcare emergency management in healthcare. We have done works on data fusion. We have done works on congestion avoidance in healthcare scenarios, post disaster healthcare scenarios. So, if you are interested in any of these, you can go through my papers, visit Google Scholar or DBLP, or visit my website and look at the publications list. You would be able to see some of these works in these domains individually. And if you still have any, if you need further suggestions, just feel free to send me an email. Right. In the mining sector also, we have done lot of work. We have done work on the use of fog computing in mining environments. We have done some work on monitoring of mines, coal mines more specifically. We have done that kind of work. So, IoT, these are not the only works, right. So, there are so many other works also that are existing on the application of IoT in each of these domains. You will be able to find application of IoT for climate change, environmental monitoring. You will be able to find application of IoT in aeronautical space, aeronautical and space applications. And there are likewise so many different application domains, in fact everywhere that you go, like in civil engineering, structural health monitoring of railway bridges, normal bridges, buildings, IoT is used. So, and when you are trying to use IoT for addressing any of the domain specific problems, you will be able to find that there are a lot of challenges there also, and the nature of challenges is little different from, it is not like one solution you will be able to address all the problems that one faces in all these different domains. So, like this, there are so many different challenges that exist. If you need any specific help, just feel free to send me an email or post it in the discussion forum. The next question is other courses after this course. So, next semester most likely the course on Industry 4.0 and Industrial IoT, Introduction to Industrial IoT and Industry 4.0 is going to be run. So, as of now that is what has been decided. So, next semester also if you are interested, you can enroll to this particular course, and there you will be able to get lot of other types of knowledge in this particular domain, particularly focusing on industrial applications. So, that is the course. Next semester probably will have the rerun of the Introduction to Industry 4.0 and Industrial IoT, plus this particular course also is going to be rerun, Introduction to Introduction to Internet of Things. Both of these courses are going to be rerun. Another question is 3D heterogeneous WSN in smart cities. I do not specifically know what you mean by 3D heterogeneous sensor networks in smart cities. If you are talking about the use of sensor networks to monitor the 3D space, you will be able to find a lot of theoretical as well as practically oriented works. For example, the use of cameras, camera networks, cameras are also visual sensors, right. So, use of cameras as visual sensors for monitoring, spatial monitoring. Use of LIDARs also is quite popular for integration of spatial monitoring using IoT. So, like that lot of different solutions would be used. Internship with me. how and when. So, if you are specifically interested in internship, contact NPTEL by taking reference of this particular course and that you are interested in internship. Time to time NPTEL funds some of these internships. So, some of these students from NPTEL courses have already done intern with me in the past with funding from NPTEL. In case you have a strong CV, but you are not able to get through the NPTEL internship program, then you can contact me directly also, right. And if you really have a good CV, let me tell you that not only for internships, for PhD and for higher studies, etc., I get large number of applications every day. And as you can understand that it is not possible for me to accept everyone, right. But if you have a strong CV and strong interest in this particular domain, send me an email with your CV, then we will see if you can be accommodated in our lab for internship. Maybe in the winter, if you are interested, send me an email for winter internship. I can accept maybe very few, those who are pretty strong in their CV, and if you are doing very well in your studies, then you have a good chance. But for working in my lab, you need to have strong interest and expertise in two things. One is programming, specifically C and Python programming, and also interest and expertise in mathematics, theoretical works, right. These two are very much required. So, 1 month internship, if you are interested, you can try applying for this coming December. But you have to be here for at least 1 month, and that should span basically the vacation period that we have in IIT Kharagpur, which is roughly like the month of December. Beyond December, it is not possible. And after that will be summer internship, right. For summer internship also at least 2 months you have to spend over here during the months of preferably entire months of May and June, right. So, during our summer vacation period as well. So, send me an email with your CV if you are interested. So, for the winter internship, if you are coming through NPTEL, it is different. I think NPTEL gives you some stipend, but if you are applying directly, you may not get any stipend or anything like that. It will be a unpaid internship. So, if you are interested, still send me an email. Do you have any other question? As it appears that there is no other question. So, these are only the few questions that you have. I hope that your preparations for the exam are going on fine. In case you are if you have any doubts, please feel free to post it in the discussion forum, right. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me now also. We have some time left. Yes, so somebody has asked about the government initiatives of smart cities. Is there any opportunity in terms of business using IoT? Very good point. Maybe you are in the, maybe you are already in the business sector. You may be having some company focusing on IoT. So, let me tell you that you are right, that there are lots of initiatives in the government smart cities programs. It started with the 100 smart cities programs. Phase by phase funds were released, So, different smart cities are getting built in our country, not only in our country, actually globally a lot of smart city programs are there, smart cities and smart homes, and also a lot of funding from government, private sector, lot of funding are coming from different places, again not only in our country but worldwide phenomenon. So, in terms of business, yes, I do not know, I cannot speak for individual smart city programs, what is their criterion, etc. But there are definitely a lot of opportunities that exist. Now, how they fulfill those opportunities, whether they have specific contractors to whom they give tender for building these smart cities, or whether there are there are other individuals or maybe startup companies who can also bid for these. These are certain things that you will have to explore for every smart city. I know that for some smart city projects, what they have done is they have floated certain tenders. Some companies have won the tenders and they are basically they are their implementation partner for their smart city implementation. But I cannot speak for all the others, right? So, I do not know what everybody is doing. So, there are a lot of I am sure that if you are in the IoT business and if you have the right connects with the different government bodies, probably you have a good chance of being able to connect and help them in implementing your solutions if you are in the the business of IoT. So, good books. IoT is an emerging area. So, some books are already posted in the course page, in the front page. If you look at, there are some references that are given. There are two books which are coming up shortly. One basically on the introduction to Internet of Things, to be published by Cambridge University Press. The other one is basically introduction to Industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0, to be published by CRC Press US. So, these two are coming up shortly, hopefully maybe coming up in early next year, right. So, maybe January, February next year. So, we are very hopeful about that, and I am also trying hard to have from the very beginning of the release of these books, I am also trying very hard to have these the Indian editions of these books also released by the corresponding publishers, so that our Indian readership will be able to have these books, they will be able to buy these books and it will be affordable for them. So, I am trying very hard, I am working with these publishers to have the Indian editions of these books also released along with the initial release of these books. There is one book that is already published by CRC Press US, and its cheap edition is not available yet. This book is authored by me and two other co-authors. It is basically on the use of fog computing, cloud computing and sensor technology to build Internet of Things, right. So, if you are interested, go to Amazon, visit the Amazon website or any other book publisher websites, and if you search with my name as author, this is one of these books you will be able to find on IoT. Basically the perspective that is taken is how do you leverage the strengths of these technologies, cloud, fog and sensor technology, how do you use them together in order to build IoT solutions. So, this particular thing is this book is already in the market, but as I said that the cheap Indian edition is not available yet. But the other two books hopefully you will be able to get early next year, and the cheap editions of these books will also be available hopefully. most of the other books that are available at present, they are of, we can classify them into of two types. Some of these books basically are focusing on the building of IoT based small IoT based solutions using open source hardware, sensors, etc. So, sensors, Arduinos, Raspberries, how you can use them and come up with small prototypes, conceptual prototypes. So, some of these books are focusing on this aspect, and some of these books are mere vision of IoT, right. But my feeling is that these books may not be able to serve the purpose of semester long courses like this one, right. So, for these courses, basically these two books that are coming up, we believe that to a large extent this gap in the availability of books serving these semester long courses, this gap will be filled to a certain extent. And the rest others basically just refer to the references that are there at the end of the slides, particularly the research papers and other book chapters, etc. So, you go through the corresponding topic by topic, you have at the end of the slides you have the references, and please go through that those corresponding references to get deeper understanding of the topic that is covered there. Industrial scope of IoT, especially focusing on MNCs. I do not know what basically discriminates MNCs from other manufacturing companies. I am not sure what you mean by MNCs, in the sense that how it is going to be a solution that will be different from the non MNCs, for example, right. So, this is something that I am not sure about. So, industrial scope of industrial IoT, rather I would say, right. So, for this you need to go through so we have gone through number of different use cases in the other course that I talked about, which is going to start in January session, from the January session. So, introduction to industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0. So, in that course you will be able to see lot of industry specific case studies, different types of industries are there, what are the scopes, what are the opportunities, and we try to analyze by visiting some real companies we have visited from different domains, catering to different problems, coming up with different products, and we have analyzed these companies by visiting them about how IoT solutions are going to help in improving their business, right. So, some of these like monitoring of manufacturing machinery. Manufacturing machinery, it could be like the welding machinery, it could be the machinery like lathe machines, and all these manufacturing industries, whatever machines they use. So, IoT based monitoring of this machinery, and then maybe improving the quality of the job that is being done through a feedback process. This is something that is of interest and is core to use of IoT in the industrial sector. Similarly, plant safety is another one. So, safety of use because every manufacturing company basically they have certain safety regulations. So, IoT basically can help in complying with these safety regulations through the use of this technology and its continuous monitoring. With the help of this technology, you can have this monitoring. So, this is one. Second thing is the security of these installations that are there. securing those installations, safeguarding them, ensuring that nobody is able to damage any of these installations intentionally or unintentionally. This is also something that is of interest to the industrial sector. Then automation, process automation, automation of warehouses, all of these are also within the scope of IoT and its applications in industry. So, that is why I have told you that in case you are interested in any of these, you can try to you can try to find some time out to enroll for the semester that is going to run from January, in the January session, and enroll yourself for the Industry 4.0 and Industrial IoT course. So, these are some of these different applications in the industrial sector, including like supply chain management using IoT. It is a common application. So, think about how IoT can be used for supply chain monitoring, right. What other questions you have? IoT routing protocols, research topics in IoT routing protocols. So, one thing that you need to understand is that in IoT there are so many IoT specific issues. For example, solutions, coming up with solutions to the different problems under the constraints that are exhibited by IoT. For example, low power, low overhead means low communication overhead, low computation overhead also. So, low power, low overhead solutions, coming up with those, and typically distributed solutions, not necessarily like if you are using SDN technology, there is some kind of a centralization also, but it comes with a cost, but at the same time it is very beneficial as well. So, you can focus on coming up with routing protocols for IoT which have low power, which are of low overhead, secured routing protocols, low latency routing protocols, routing in the presence of fog, routing by taking the edge requirements into account, secured routing. These are certain things that come to my mind. Also, like I told you about SDN, right. So, in an IoT SDN enabled IoT network, routing in those those kind of environments, SDN integrated IoT networks, basically routing in those. Then another one is green computing, basically carbon emissions and all these things, how you can reduce the energy consumption and then accordingly look at the carbon emissions, how much carbon emission you are going to save by coming up with your energy efficient solution. So, these are called green solutions, green protocols, green routing solutions. Energy harvesting is another one. Routing in energy harvested, routing with energy harvesting put together, this is also something that is of interest, right. So, these are some of these things that I can think immediately, instantly. You can also search in the internet, there are so many works that are there. You can look at my works also, like routing in WBAN, wireless body area network, right, specific type of technology which would be used in coming up with IoT based solutions for healthcare. So, routing in WBANs, like this, there are so many different problems that are there. So, routing in SDN integrated IoT, routing in W bands, that means healthcare IoT, etc. So, looking at those different solutions. Security issues in IoT, so many. IoT systems are highly constrained in all respects, as I told you number of times during the different lectures in the course. So, these are constrained in all different ways. These are constrained with respect to their computation capability, processing capability, they are constrained with respect to their communication capability. So, you have very low power technology that is used. So, low power, low computation, low communication environment, like low communication in the sense like low bandwidth environments, highly error prone environments. Most of these IoT systems are deployed in places which are highly error prone, right. So, how do you offer these network services in a secured manner in these constrained environments? Because your security solutions, for example RSA, your security solutions, for example PKI, these are not usable as such in these constrained systems. So, how you are going to deal with that? So, this is one thing. Second thing is that mobility. Nowadays we are talking about mobile nodes. How do you deal with mobility? Because mobility adds to the concerns of security even more. So, secured routing, for example in a mobile environment, mobile IoT environment, right, that is also of concern, because mobility adds lot of additional vulnerabilities, right. How do you handle those? Then there are issues of heterogeneity, different products, different equipments coming from different vendors, and these have their these have been built with their own different specific specifications. So, how do you handle this? Because when you have heterogeneity in place, when different solutions have been built by different vendors, obviously you will have lot of security gaps also that are going to be naturally naturally these are going to come in. So, how do you handle these? Likewise, for back-end processing also security issues are of concern, like cloud security in the context of IoT, right. Then analytics solutions, you need to have security in analytics as well. Secured analytics is very important, right. So, like this there are so many different security concerns in IoT. Can IoT and AI be interlinked is the next question. Yes, IoT is not a standalone technology. IoT is not a standalone technology. IoT basically sits on top of number of pillars, and some of these important pillars are AI and ML. So, basically why ML? Because the data that you are going to gather, you have to make sense out of the data, otherwise all these IoT solutions that you install are not going to be of any use. You have to make sense out of these data. So, machine learning, low power machine learning, because if you are talking about IoT, you need constrained machine learning solutions, low power, low processing capability aware machine learning solutions. So, these sort of machine learning solutions you need. So, ML and AI, because many of these IoT solutions, and more specifically the M2M based solution, machine to machine solutions, use lot of robotics. So, robotics means you are bringing in AI a lot in different ways. So, whether you are talking about terrestrial robotics or aerial robotics or underwater robotics. So, robotics is integral. So, that means that AI also comes into picture. So, AI then correspondingly all these different problems in AI like search, etc., these also come into picture naturally, right. So, AI, ML, these are some interlinked AI technologies which could be used to basically provide support to the building of IoT solutions. So, AI and IoT are strongly interlinked, interconnected, right. It all depends on the specific use case that you are going to serve, you intend to serve, that which specific AI AI requirements will be there, or which specific ML requirements will be there, but these are basically strongly interlinked, AI ML with IoT. Any other question? I am still waiting for you if anybody has any other question. If not, nobody seems to write anything, I will just pause for another 10 to 15 seconds. If there is no other question, we are going to stop here. So, I will just wait for another 10 to 15 seconds to see if there is any further question coming. There will be another live session like this on Wednesday, okay? And I hope that all of you have got the intimation. If you have not got yet, contact your NPTEL office. So, there will be another live session, and you will get another opportunity to ask questions also. Very interesting question. Very interesting question. Scope of IoT in Punjab. Scope of IoT in Punjab. Punjab is culturally rich. Punjab is rich in agricultural resources. Punjab is rich in different ways, right. So, you can first of all IoT in agriculture, I already spoke about it, and Punjab is rich in Punjab is well known for agriculture. Advanced technologies are used in Punjab for agriculture. So, IoT basically strongly comes into picture, and already I spoke about some of these different problems. You can also look through my publications, different works on IoT in agriculture, and all of these are also applicable in Punjab as well. But if there is any Punjab specific agricultural problem, then you should think like how IoT can be used. I do not know those problems, right. You have to. So, the best way is you should always have domain specific experts along with you. If you are, let us say that you want to solve some agricultural problems using IoT, make sure that you have some domain experts like agricultural experts, people who understand agriculture. They should also be on board with you in your endeavors, right. So, so this is one thing. Culturally, actually, we all know about how strong Punjab is in the cultural space. I never thought about it, but because you prompted me to think about Punjab specific problems, so I am just thinking maybe I will leave it to you that whatever you have learned, can you try to use them to come up with some problems that is faced in Punjab in terms of the different events, the cultural events that are held from time to time, and the different things that you have, different festivals that you have, etc. So, can IoT help, right? But interesting question, and thanks for asking. What other question you have? Energy harvesting research topics, type of harvesting, type of energy that you want to harvest, solar, wind, kinetic energy, etc., translating all of them into electrical forms, right. So, if you are somebody from, let us say, the core energy sector and has interests in IoT, think about what are the different energy harvesting possibilities, right. Another thing is storage. Storage is very important. Energy harvesting along with storage, think about the storage solutions, right. So, that is something that is interesting from energy harvesting point of view. Design of circuits for energy harvesting specific to different energy harvesting methods, design of different circuits, different sensors, these are also interesting. Then as I was telling you that coming up with different protocols like routing protocols, for example, energy harvesting with routing, you will find lot of works are being carried on. Energy harvesting with routing, energy harvesting with other things, other types of protocols like the link layer issues, energy harvesting with applications like this, lot of work on energy harvesting you will be able to find, lot of attempts are being made. No other question? Another question, startup ideas, yes, you can discuss with me, so if you have some idea, I would love to hear from you, send me an email later on, right, and if there is something that I could be of help, providing ideas, that also I would love to, or you can even post it in the discussion forum, that is also perfectly fine. So, I do not see any other question. Yes, over email would be better, right. So, you send me an email, right, instead of posting it publicly. If you have any startup ideas, then I would try to help you as much as I can. But IoT is something, a domain where startups making money from different IoT solutions is attractive. So, and we have ample opportunities in our country. Another thing is rural development, nobody spoke about it, we only speak of agriculture. Rural development, tribal development, remote areas, coming up with different solutions. Think about India specific solutions. India has large number of solutions which are, large number of problems which are specific to our country only. Think about those, coming up with solutions, trying to address those. Think about them. Tribal belts, what are the specific problems that they have? Try to come up with IoT solutions that will try to solve some of their problems, right. I think with this we will stop for tonight. So, once again on Wednesday you will get another opportunity to interact with me, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask at that time as well. Thank you.